Thank you for all of you, sahabat, for coming this webinar. This is the third webinar. Okay, so the fourth webinar after midterm break. So we start with the bacaan surah Al-Fatihah. Al-Fatihah. Okay, Prof. Prof boleh mula.
Okay, terima kasih Dr. Zaman. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi dan selamat pagi kepada semua sahabat-sahabat rakan akademik di Unit 10. Okay, sebelum saya teruskan, saya nak cek lagi sekali audio jelas ya, Dr. Zaman.
Audio jelas Prof, tapi dia masih ada lagi sikit lah. Tapi tak apalah, kalau kita teruskan dulu, kalau teruk saya beritahulah.
Okey. Kita doakan supaya internet will be kind to us so that we can do this webinar smoothly ya.
Ya, insyaAllah.
Okay. Dr. Zaman tolong tengok kalau ada soalan dalam chat, because what I'm seeing on my screen now is a full screen PowerPoint.
Ya, boleh.
Somehow I cannot have access to the chat lah.
Okay.
Jadi semalam I have shared a topic on what was the topic yesterday? It's about professionalism. Professionalism in teaching, and we have defined what is the meaning of professionalism in the context of education, in the context of teaching and learning. We have defined what are the traits of professional educators and what are the strategies to become and recognize as professional educators and ultimately as a scholar. So to be a professional educators, one of the traits is to be able to do or to deliver or to practice scholarly teaching. Those who have attended yesterday, I hope you still remember what is scholarly teaching. By the way, yesterday I forgot to share the link to download the PowerPoint. So at the end of this session, Dr. Zaman, please remind me to share the PowerPoint presentation yesterday.
Boleh.
All the slides that I'm going to, and to one of PDF to a PDF which is
tak smooth lah, Prof.
And publish.
Prof.
Tak smooth Ya.
Dia punya suara dia tak smooth. Dia tak tahu kenapa.
Macam mana kita nak
Nampak tak? Dia Ain boleh bantu apa-apa Ain? Macam mana nak selesaikan? Ain? Kita punya eksekutif ada kat
saya cuba saya gunakan mic lebih baik. Dr. Salman, adakah lebih smooth lagi?
Okey, itu sedap. Okey, itu sedap.
Dr. Salman?
Boleh dengar.
Okey ke?
Okey. Boleh dengar.
Tadi saya guna Unit 10 staff Wi-Fi staff. Ni saya guna saya punya hotspot. Is it better?
Okey nampak. Okey.
Okey. Saya punya hotspot better than Unit 10 punya Wi-Fi. Okey.
Cabaran.
InsyaAllah kita sama-sama doakan supaya permudahkan urusan kita pada pagi ini ya. Jadi I was saying just now, saya akan share 3 link. Satu yang untuk download my presentation yesterday. Bagi siapa yang hadir semalam, we can download dan boleh share lah dengan rakan-rakan yang tak hadir kalau mereka berminat lah. Kemudian share link yang kedua, saya akan share untuk this particular presentation, how learning works, 7 research-based principles for smart teaching, which I'm going to share this morning. And the third link, I'm going to share the link to this book review. Boleh nampak Dr. Zaman saya switch screen sekarang.
Boleh.
Yeah. Okay. So this one is actually a PDF file, which I will share the link for you to download. It's actually my review of this book. So my sharing this morning is actually based on this book, How Learning Works, 7 Research-Based Principles for Smart Teaching, and this has been my favorite book. Yeah.
Wow.
Boleh nampak ya? Ini dia. Siapa nak tengok buku ni bolehlah datang pinjam. Saya juga ada soft copy of this book, okay, How Learning Works. So buku yang ini diberi secara percuma oleh pengarang dia sendiri ya, masa saya pergi melawat beliau di US. So this is actually a signed copy ya.
Wow.
Dan saya juga beli the PDF. Saya beli the PDF, the e-book version. So saya ada dua-dua. Dan selepas saya menelaah buku tersebut dan khatam buku tersebut, saya dah khatam buku ni beberapa kali sebenarnya. Sebab buku ni sangat-sangat best lah, sangat bagus. Dia sesuai untuk mereka yang tidak ada education background macam saya lah, dan macam kebanyakan daripada rakan-rakan di sini yang engineering background, computer science dan sebagainya, account. Kita tak ada proper training and exposure on education kan, on with the pedagogy dan sebagainya. Dan this book is written for this group, for us. So I would really highly encourage all of you to buy the book, whether the hard copy or the soft copy. Soft copy is cheaper, and we can put on the iPad. I have this book on my iPad, on my phone, so that I can refer to it all the time. So after I read the book, I wrote a review and published this in Food Science, Journal of Food Science Education. Okay, and this is what I would encourage people to do. When you read the book, why not write a review or write a snippet of the certain part of the book, share it in the social media, because by sharing what you have read, actually it can do a few things. One is you actually reflect on what you have read, and you try to write it. You write it in such a way, the way you understand, the way you understood the concept or the principles or the points, and then when you share it, a lot of people will benefit. So this is where, remember I mentioned about people recognize you as a scholar. One of the traits of a scholar is always share their knowledge and disseminate their knowledge to the wider audience, to public at large, to the world. Okay, so that's one of the characteristics or the traits or the attributes of a scholar. So I wrote this review, and in the session this morning, probably I won't be able to really go through in details of all the 7 principles. I will just kind of give an overview, touch and go, very surface, because to go deeper into each principle, it has to be divided into 7 separate sessions. One principle, actually, we can discuss, we can talk about it, we can elaborate for 2 hours to really go deep into it. Okay, and then after that we can adopt and practice it in our classroom. Okay, so I will give you the link to download this review, where in this review I give chapter by chapter explanation, what are the gist or the essence of each chapter. Okay, and this will give you a good understanding of what the book is about, and hopefully it will encourage you to buy the book. Okay, this is one of the part of the investment. Remember, yesterday I mentioned about investment. Personal growth leads to drives professional growth. So in order for us to grow, we have to invest. Invest in the form of money, invest in the form of time, energy. So these are our kind of sacrifice. The investment, hopefully one day, we will get the return of investment in terms of knowledge, in terms of skill, in terms of being able to deliver the best learning experience to our students, and therefore give the good image and reputation for Uniten, so that word of mouth will spread and a lot of people will come to study at Uniten. We play a very important role here. Okay, now back to this sharing this morning is based on the book. So the title is exactly the title of the book, How Learning Works, 7 Research-Based Principles for Smart Teaching. Some of you probably, when you look at this title, you probably ask question, like, why should I learn about how learning works? I've been teaching for 20 years, 15 years, 10 years. I know how learning works. But if we ask ourselves truthfully, sincerely, honestly, can we really say that we really understand how learning works? So when later on I will explain 4 levels of competence. Yeah? The lowest level of so-called competency, something what we call unconscious incompetence, is the level where someone actually don't know what they don't know. They are not aware. They are not aware what they don't know. So that is the lowest level. So sometimes at this level, we feel that we know and we can talk about it, but actually we are still oblivious and still not aware of what we don't really know. Okay, so let's open our mind, open our heart, and be humble enough to go back to basic and learn about how learning works, what is learning and how it works. Okay, and in this book, the best part of this book is it is based on research, a lot of research, not only one, not only two, but it's a collection of research on the principle, and it has been shown. So the evidence are there, strong evidence that shows that it works. So let's use whatever that works and has been shown, proven by research, so that when we apply it in our classroom, we know it's going to work. And when people ask us, why are you using this method? Why are you using this technique? Jigsaw, you use problem-based learning, scenario-based learning, and whatnot. So how do you know it works? Because it has been shown by research it works. And of course, you can do your own research as well, action research, to show that, oh, in my context, it also works. So again, if you follow many of my sharing presentation, previously, you will notice that I always start with quotes. I love quotes. Always won't open new doors. So if you want to open new doors, you need new key to unlock. So in the context of teaching and learning, things are evolving, especially in terms of using technology. So technology is evolving very fast. So if we keep doing the same thing again and again and expect different results, it just it doesn't work that way. So I quote from the book here, and I have shared it in my Facebook. This is actually the words of the authors here, so I just quote from the book. And these are very powerful for us to ponder upon and to think about it. The authors say when it comes to teaching, most of us are still learning. Teaching is a complex activity, actually, yet most of us have not received formal training in pedagogy. Yeah, I have to admit. When I applied for Anugerah Akademi Negara, it was 15 years. When after I joined USM, 15 years, 15 tahun. At that point, I applied for Anugerah Akademi Negara. And when I was preparing my teaching portfolio, then only I realized so much I don't know. I take for granted. At that point, I've never heard of certain terminologies and so on. So I was just oblivious after 15 years. Can you imagine that? So because we have not received a formal training in pedagogy, if there is no program at the university to teach our staff what are the principles of adult learning, what is student-centered learning, what is this, what is that. So now TLC is doing that. So I urge everyone, all the 400 plus academic staff at UNITEN, prioritize your time so that you can come and listen, attend the program by TLC, so that you can learn new things. A lot of things that you are not aware of, new things especially. Furthermore, teaching is a highly contextualized activity because it is shaped by the students we have. Different cohort of students, different batch of students. We will have to deal with them differently because there are different people, different mindset, different experience when they come to us. So it has to be contextualized to the audience, to different group of people. Advancements in our respective fields, changes in technology, and so on. So we have to contextualize and change, adapt to a different technology, different time, different environment. Therefore, our teaching must constantly adapt to changing parameters. The key word there is adaptability, agility, adaptability, flexibility. These are the characteristics of being an educator in the VUCA world. So with this slide, I hope one of the take-home messages today, we should understand that teaching is evolving, so we must adapt to it constantly. And we should be humble enough to admit, although we think that we are very experienced lecturer, very experienced academic. I've been teaching for 20 years. Who are you to tell me that I don't know anything about learning or I don't know much about learning? So if we are humble enough to acknowledge that there's so much to know and learn about learning and about learners, about the students, about people. So that's a starting point to open up our mind, our heart, be humble enough to acknowledge that we have so much more to learn about learning itself. What is learning? The what, the why, the how, the when, and also about understanding our adult learners. Okay. Dr. Zulman, so far so good?
Alhamdulillah, bro.
Alhamdulillah. Oh, okay. UNITEN kena bayar saya punya data ya.
Claim.
Okay. Okay. Now, I want to throw a few questions here. How much time do we invest in ensuring our students learn effectively? Have you ever thought, pause for a while, sit down and think about, okay, I've been very busy doing this and that, but how much time do I really invest my time and think about whether my students have learned effectively or not? So kita tanya diri kita sendiri kan. Kita memang sentiasa sibuk dengan macam-macam benda. Family life, work life, bila come to the office dengan macam-macam lagi. So, are we really concerned about whether our students have learned effectively? at the end of 4 years, at the end of the semester? Have we ever taught our students how to learn? The skill to learn how to learn. When did we teach our students how to learn? Or whether we take for granted that after 12 years in the school, when they come to Unit 10, they should know how to learn. I think actually, when we look back, when we really think about it, we don't really teach them how to learn. We just basically go through the motion of our teaching day by day, week by week, semester by semester. At the end, we prepare the test, the exam. But where and when do we really teach our students how to learn? Whose responsibility is that? So are we passing the buck? TLC is doing this, so I can lepas tangan. Just ponder on this. Do they have an understanding? Do the students have an understanding of effective learning strategies, or we just assume, we just take for granted? How can we assist students in increasing their sense of self-efficacy? I will explain what does self-efficacy means, and encouraging self-regulation, self-directive, being a self-directive and self-regulated learners. These are some of the typical questions that we should ask ourselves if we care about our students. So, ladies and gentlemen, my dear colleagues, we should start with the end in mind. What is our end? What is the end that we need to pay attention to? The end in mind is, the bottom line at the end of the day is about learning. Do our students learn and learn effectively? Have we given them the best learning experience, memorable, unforgettable learning experience that they will remember forever? That's the bottom line. Learning, okay? And that is the focus of this presentation. So with that also, start with learners in mind. Learners are students. Start with them in mind. We should ask first, when we receive the new batch of students, the new cohort of students in our class, do we spend some time to really get to know them? Who are they? Of course, they are adult learners. So therefore, adult learners are different from young learners, in school. So they come to the university, 18 years old, they are already adult. They come with 18 years life experience. So we must treat them like adult, and therefore we must understand the adult learning principles, the adult learning theory. They are autonomous, so they want to be empowered. Oh, I'm adult. Treat me like adult. So therefore, empower me. So what is the empowerment? The empowerment that we can give. They are self-directed. They can determine their own direction. They have autonomous. Then therefore they are self-directed, meaning that they can be independent. How independent? We want them to be independent learners. And mutual respect. We treat them like an adult. I always tell my students, you are adults. I will treat you like adult, and therefore please behave like an adult. You don't want me to treat you like school children, right? And therefore be responsible, behave like an adult, so that I can treat you like an adult. So therefore I respect you as an adult. So we have mutual respect. I respect you and you respect me. And therefore we can start to work together. So we create that kind of mindset that learning is happening in the environment where we work together. So co-learning, you are a novice learner, I am a master learner. So since I'm more experienced than you, then I can guide you along the way. So learning is a journey. So I'll be taking you through a journey through these 4 years. That kind of mindset must be, you know, we must make it clear to the students to get at the very beginning of the semester. So these are two of my favorite books. On the left here, okay, you can see here, Understanding the Adult Learner. The title is very clear and very explicit. Understanding the Adult Learner. The fundamental principles behind effective adult learning programs. Great book. Try to get this book. And this is my most my number one favorite book, How Learning Works, 7 Research-Based Principles for Smart Teaching. I've been promoting this book for a long time, yeah, since I read this book many years ago, and I even wrote the book review. So at least if you cannot get both, you get this one first, How Learning Works. But if you're really serious to be very you understand about learning and so on, so get this another book here. So this book complement each other. So what the book is about? The book organizes research on teaching, bring all the knowledge, the findings from research, not one, not two, but collection of research into 7 principles. So they have distilled the knowledge, condensed it into 7 principles to provide instructors, in this case, instructors mean us, the teachers, the lecturers, the academics, with an understanding of student learning that can help us to see why certain teaching approaches are or are not supporting students' learning. What works, what do not works. Of course.
Prof.
Yeah.
Dr. Chua ada komen sikit tu kat chat.
Okay. Saya tengok chat. Chat. Mana pula? Sini chat. Okay. We were all overwhelmed with the tasks on the table given by the university until we have no time to really think deeply and work hard into how to make learning works for others. I think I agree with Dr. Chua here. Well, this is the so-called the predicament, the dilemma, and it must be acknowledged also by the management, by the administrators. But it is also a common scenario and situation in all universities or higher learning institution. And I came from USM, one of the research universities in Malaysia. So I have been kind of tuned to that kind of culture where you have to be jack of all trades. Basically, you have to do research, you have to do supervision, you have to do teaching. So remember yesterday, if you attended yesterday's session, you have to juggle so many balls, and you don't want to drop any of the ball. You have to be able to do that, and to do that efficiently. And you're expected to do so many things. So I cannot tell you how you can manage all these things, but somehow, if we have been ignoring our teaching and we don't really go and try to do the best, then somehow we have to find ways. And I don't have the answer how we can manage all these things, but somehow we have to do our part so that first and foremost is all about our students. You can do the best, you can become excellent researchers, you can publish in the top Q1 journal and so on. But for students, they will say, who cares? I'm here 4 years, I want to learn, and I want to learn from the best. And I want to learn in the environment where I can, I can enjoy my learning experience and so on. So that's my response to that. We have to find ways. Yeah, we have to find ways to balance the thing. And over nearly 30 years in USM, I think I somehow managed to do that. It's just a matter of how we develop our workflow and develop our kind of ecosystem, our own ecosystem, so that we can manage everything. Yeah, Dr. Chua, maybe my question does not satisfy you, but feel free to come to my room and we can chat on this one. And yeah, all right. So yeah, so this book will tell us what works, what don't work based on research, and generate or refine, and therefore allow us to generate or refine teaching approaches and strategies that more effectively foster student learning in specific contexts. So the engineering context is different, the arts context is different. Those teaching, let's say, business and accounting, maybe the approach is different. So we have to contextualize, yeah, and then transfer and apply these 7 principles to when you design new course, when you teach new course, or when you have a new batch of student, a new group, yeah. Okay, so that in a nutshell, what the book is about. So these are the 7 principles. I just go through one by one. The first one is, how does students' prior knowledge affect their learning? And perhaps in this session, I would not be able to go all through all 7 in detail. Maybe I don't think we have enough time. Yeah. So I will probably start with number one, and see how it goes lah. Maybe we will have a second part to go through the rest of the principle is more detail. Yeah? So how does students' prior knowledge affect their learning? Remember, when the students came to us, when they came to the university, they are around 18 years old, I think, about 18 years old. So they have 18 years experience, 18 and 12 years in school. So they will come with their prior knowledge, but they will also come with their own kind of preconception. They probably have some misconception of certain thing, misinterpretation of certain thing, misunderstanding of certain things. So when they come to our class, we have to check how much they know about, especially certain concept or principles or facts relevant to the course that they are taking now with us. So have you done this? Have you checked their prior knowledge? Perhaps you meet them maybe in the second year. You teach a second year course. So have you really checked what they have learned from the previous courses in the first year? Maybe you check and say, okay, I assume you have learned about this and that. Sometimes we just assume, okay? Or have you learned about this? We just ask them to raise their hand and so on. Maybe we have done something like that, yeah. But there are actually more systematic way of how we do check for prior knowledge, and this is something that we must do, so that we know where they are, how much they know, or whether they have some misconception or misunderstanding. So from where they are, taking them to the outcome that we want to achieve in this course that we are teaching them now. So that we can establish what is the gap, so that we are able to connect them with what they know and what they are going to learn. So the connection will be established nicely. Otherwise, there will be disconnection. So that's basically what this first principle means. How does students' prior knowledge affect their learning, and how you can check for that, and how are you going to strategize your learning design, your lesson design, so that you take into account their prior knowledge. The second principle is, how does the way students organize knowledge affect their learning? Okay, so this is about the skill of the student to organize knowledge. So, and this will affect their learning. This will affect how good how easy for them to understand the new knowledge that we are going to present to them. So we will elaborate on this. Look at this in more detail. The third principle is what factors motivate students learning. This is a big thing here. Motivation. I will have another topic actually to talk about motivations of students. Of course, the more qualified people is educational psychologists to talk about motivation, because motivation is related to the psychology of the student, the emotion, yeah, the emotional state of the student. What drives them to attend your class? What drives you to attend this session this morning? So what's the motivation behind it? Maybe you can also put in the chat there. Yeah, why are you coming here this morning to listen to this presentation? What is the motivation behind it? What drives you? Yeah. So the same thing. What drives students to learn? Of course, they have to come to the class because the lecturers will take the attendance. Otherwise, they will be call and explain why they don't come. So that is not the real motivation, because they have to come. Okay, but the real motivation, even no attendance will be taken and so on, is the intrinsic motivation that they want to come because they love to come. They want to learn. That's the real intrinsic motivation that we want students to have. How do we foster that intrinsic motivation? How do we create that? How do students develop mastery? So this is about competency, remember? So how do we help students to develop mastery, the real competency? Meaning that the learning outcome, they have achieved the learning outcome and they have mastered that. What is the meaning of mastery? What kinds of practice and feedback enhance learning? Many times that we ignore about feedback, giving meaningful feedback to students. We just say, oh, excellence, or correct, incorrect, excellence, well done. That is good to maybe give them the kind of instant gratification. They feel acknowledged, but it's not really helpful and useful for them because the feedback is not really properly targeted. It's not very specific. It doesn't help them to improve on their learning. It's another big thing here, feedback and practice. Why do students' development and course climate matter for student learning? Yeah, we are talking about creating a conducive learning environment where students, our classroom is a place where they want to spend their time. 1 hour for them, just they don't feel it. Time flies for them because we have created that environment, a very vibrant, active learning environment with nice social interaction between the students and the teacher or the lecturer. They just love to be there. They just love to be there. So how do the seventh principle is how do students become self-directed learners, autonomous, independent, motivated learners. So these are basically what self-directed learners is about, independent learners. They just know what to do. You tell them to do one thing, they will do 5. You ask them to submit tomorrow, they will submit today. That is a kind of learners, students that we want to create. And this type of learners, when they go out, they leave Unit 10 and they go out to work, they will become, they will become an excellent personnel, excellent staff. They will excel in their workplace. And when the employers see that, wow, we have hired, 1 Unit 10 graduates, and the rest are from other universities. But this guy from Unit 10 really different. So I will tell HR in the future, take more Unit 10 graduates. So, who's responsible actually to create such quality of Unit 10 graduates? We. And therefore, we have to do by design and by understanding how learning works, design our lesson in such a way so that we can nurture, inculcate, and instill all the right skill and attitude, knowledge, values to our students. Maybe I will switch to a chat. Maybe okay, no more comment, no more feedback. Okay, I can continue. Boleh ya, Dr. Zulman? Ini baru 2 slide, 3 slide ya. Now,
Boleh.
I'll give you an overview, a slightly more detail of the 7 principles. This slide is a bit crowded. Don't get distracted. Let's start one by one. Okay, shall we? So number 1, principle number 1. How does students' prior knowledge affect their learning? So this is a little bit expanded description here. Prior learning, prior knowledge. Students link new ideas and information to what they already know. The same with us also. You know, our prior knowledge will help us to learn new thing, and we try to link what we know and with what the new thing that we learn. That's basically how we learn. So, but this prior knowledge, it can do two things, two opposite things. It can hinder learning in the case of, in the situation where hinder learning in the case of inactive, insufficient, inappropriate, or inaccurate knowledge. So we have some knowledge, but that knowledge actually, the knowledge, we have actually some misconception, some misunderstanding of certain concept. So, and we bring this into a new thing that we want to learn. We try to link that previous knowledge, which is wrong misconception of something, and that can really hinder our learning of the new thing, because we try to apply the wrong concept to the new concept. So that is the negative part. But the prior knowledge can also be harnessed to enhance learning. So there is something very important for us to remember. Our students come to our class with some prior knowledge, but that knowledge can be helpful or it can be detrimental, can be a negative, can affect their learning negatively also. Okay, so that's the first principle. There is more to it, of course, but now we just go a little bit more to understand each principle.
Prof.
Number 2, yes.
Kalau biasanya kalau kita nak check nak tahu dia punya prior knowledge ni, kita just give the short quiz ke ataupun macam mana cara dia? Oh,
Okay.
nanti.
Itu nanti.
Nanti, okey. Saya tak sabar lagi. Okey, tak apa.
Ya. Tapi good question, Dr. Osman. Apa ni, memang kita akan tengok lah macam mana kita nak tahu kan dia punya prior knowledge betul ke tak betul, banyak ke tak banyak, dia ada misconception ke kan. Memang betul kita kena buat checking tu secara systematic. There are ways.
Bro.
There are ways of doing it. So okay, you can ask the questions. Yeah. We will come to that shortly. Okay, number 2.
Dalam chat tu ada, bro. Dr. Chua bagi panjang.
Okay. Oh, bagus. Ini yang kena ni. All they wanted just okay, dia kata apa? Dr. Chua kata, okay, kita nak peserta macam Dr. Chua ni. Dia actively thinking, actively participating, and actively helping the audience also with additional information. I kalau jadi participant dalam mana-mana webinar, kalau you were there, previously, you will see I'm always the most active participant in that, because I akan share resources, I akan comment on or asking questions, comment, give additional comment on the speakers punya point, because that will make me engage with the speaker or with the presentation, and at the end of 1 hour, 2 hours, my time is well spent. Yeah. So thank you very much, Dr. Chua. I really appreciate it. Yes, completely agreed. I'm not sure what you agree here. Completely agreed with this principle maybe, yeah. One can be the top 1% most cited researcher in the world, but then most undergraduate students don't care. Oh yeah, my statement just now, eh? Students couldn't care less whether you are the top researcher. All they want is, I want to learn whatever that I want to learn during these 4 years in my course. All they wanted is just merely a better learning environment, yes, and experience in the university and complete their degree. I believe this has been somehow forgotten, sidelined, ignored by many also, especially now when the conversation is about research. Okay, Dr. Zaman, I nampak macam ada interruption tadi.
Dia sekejap. Tapi okey. Tapi okey, boleh follow.
So yeah, I think please read the comment by Dr. Chua here. I think it's very useful. This is basically on reflecting on what I was saying just now, okay? So in my opinion, academic without education background should undergo certain courses and training like this. I'm very happy to hear that, Dr. Chua. Thank you very much. That make my time really worth. And I mean, time to prepare this is, this 2 hours sharing this morning, it took me like many hours. But I'm happy when the audience really appreciate it and learn something from it. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the number 2 here. Now, how does the way students organize knowledge affect their learning? Developing expertise requires rich connection between facts, concept, and procedures organized around abstract principle and causal relationship. How students organize knowledge influences how they learn and apply what they know. I will elaborate a little bit more on this one in the later part. But just enough to say at this point, when we learn new thing, you notice when we learn new thing, including us, ChatGPT. Oh, what is ChatGPT? So what do? Basically, we don't know much. So everything is abstract. Everything is like flying things on the cloud that you are trying to kind of put them together and make it clear to us so that we can see more, the clarity is there. So students must have the skill, and we can teach them the skill, how to organize all these different parts of facts and so on, maybe in the form of mind map, concept mapping, and so on, which one of the technique actually for students to organize knowledge. So once they have this 1 or 2 techniques to organize knowledge and to learn, okay, kena pakai. Okay, nanti next time pakai kabel ni lah ya. Okay, tak apa, for now nampaknya I punya ni nampak okay. But yeah, thank you very much. Tak apa kot. Kalau ada problem nanti I try to use sendiri. Thank you Polani. Okay, Polani yang bagi I kabel ni. Okay. Kalau pakai kabel ni lebih stable ya. Kat rumah saya di Kelang saya pakai kabel kan. Saya subscribe to the highest package of Unify, so I dapat 800 Mbps. So mungkin next time untuk buat webinar ni I duduk kat rumah je kot. Anyway, I will try the cable nanti. Okay, so maknanya student kena ada systematic way of organizing their knowledge so that they can learn much better, more efficiently. Okay, now number 3, what factors motivate students to learn? What motivates you to learn? The same thing, yeah. What motivates you to learn about ChatGPT? Because I know ChatGPT can do a lot of things. So we explore, we learn. The motivation comes from us, from within. So that's an intrinsic motivation. Okay. Students are motivated by the subjective value of a goal and by their expectancy of success. Students may be guided by different goals, and recognizing this can help you foster their motivation. So there's a lot more about motivation. In fact, I have another session just focusing on motivation. Number 4 here, how do students develop mastery? An expert performs complex tasks with little conscious awareness of the complexity involved. To approach that level of mastery, a novice must not only learn the component skills, but also integrate them and know them know when to apply them. Component skill. Contoh yang mudah macam ni lah. Now when we drive a car, you never actually think about it, kan? We just go sit down, sit in the driver's seat, just press the button now. Dulu ada kunci, then you can apa kan? And then off you go. Kalau you drive manual, you just, it's automatic. You know, you don't really think about pressing the clutch, pressing the gas, everything. Everything is automatic because you are an expert already, expert learner. Everything is automated. But if you just learning how to drive, so you have to learn, okay, first you have to do this, then you have to do this. So this is what does it mean by learn the component skill. So the component, each component step by step until you can, the car move, then it's okay. So in order to reach that level, until you don't think about it anymore, the mastery level, you have to go through steps to the mastery level, the 4 level at least, yeah. When we learn the bicycle, how to ride a bicycle, we have to learn step by step. But once we drive, you just become expert, you just jump on the bicycle, then off you go. Okay. And we are now, when we are a lecturer, we teach the course on process control, thermodynamic, for example. Yeah? Fingertips, on our fingertip, because we are an expert. We are an expert. But sometimes we forget our students are still novice. They are still struggling. And this is where something called expert blind spot. Expert blind spot. We forget when we were students. When we were students, we were also struggling. But when we become an expert, we just, assume the student also as good as us. That's always a wrong assumption and makes students struggle more. That's why we need empathy more, yeah, empathetic. Number 5, what kinds of practice and feedback enhance learning? So practice is often misguided and feedback poorly timed, insufficient or unfocused. Good, excellent, correct, well done. That's not useful. Okay. To be effective, practice should be directed by goals and coupled with targeted feedback. So practice and feedback hand in hand. Okay, they are kind of in tandem. Number 6. Oops. Number 6. Why do students' development and course climate matter for student learning? People vary not just intellectually. So that's the first thing we have to acknowledge. Students come with different experience, different ability. So we want to be inclusive. So acknowledge that people have different ability, different level of competency. So there's no one size fits all. We have to cater for the diversity. Therefore, we must be inclusive. That's SDG number 4 there. So we acknowledge that people vary not just intellectually, but also socially and emotionally. Some are introvert, some are extrovert, some are ambivert. Okay, emotionally, some are, you just say anything, they just smile. Some are very sensitive. Okay, so we have to acknowledge that, understand that, learn some psychology. A student's entire state, not just the intellect, interacts with the course, social, emotional, and intellectual climate to impact learning for better or for worse. This is something that most of the time we ignore or we neglect. Not intentionally, tapi kita mungkin not really aware or sometimes just oblivious. So when that happen kan, some student will disconnect and detach themselves, isolated. They become isolated because we don't really care about them. We don't really empathize with them. And some are introverts. They are not comfortable to be in the social environment, and we don't help them to be part of the learning community, the classroom community. We just let them, leave them alone. So that's what the course climate is about. Have we ever spent some time to really think about it? Most of us, including myself, sometimes we just go through the motion. What we know is my 1 hour class, I just teach, leave, and that's all. I've done my part. Okay. I mean, not everyone, of course, but we don't want to be like that. How do students become self-directed learners? So we want all our students become self-directed learners. Students must learn to assess the demand, the task, evaluate their own knowledge and skill, and plan their approach, monitor their progress, and adjust their strategies as needed. This is what self-directed learners are about. It's not like, we tell them one thing, only then they do. We tell them to do it, yes, to submit yesterday, they will submit in one week later. They are always the late one. Why? These are the type of these are not the self-directed learners. They are, they need to be guided all the time. They need to be told to do everything. They are not proactive. They're just reactive, or sometimes not even reactive. They just ignore. We have all these kind of students, right? And we should be able to deal with them and help them rather than leave them, ignore them. Okay, so that's, ladies and gentlemen, 1 hour gone. And basically this is an overview of 7 principles, evidence-based, research-based principles of how learning works in this book. So far, maybe at this point in time in my presentation, maybe we can have some discussion. So I'm looking at the chat box now from Dr. Norziana. If you are professor, then I just address you as Dr. Saya minta maaf ya. Okay, from Dr. Norziana here, Prof. Do you think it is a need for the university to first give a talk or course to the students on how to become self-directed learners? Excellent questions. Before they start their first year. So in general, they will have an initial idea and prepare themselves accordingly throughout their learning in the university. Excellent questions. Very thoughtful questions. Yes, ideally, we should have a program for students to teach them to learn how to learn, to teach them not only study skill. Study skill ni apa? How to take notes, how to answer exam questions, how to do this, how to do that. That's good, but we have to go beyond study. Teach them to learn how to learn. If they know how to learn, then throw them anywhere when they go out to work, throw them anywhere, they will flourish. They will be able to excel because they know the basic principle of how to learn. Then they can learn just about anything. They will be very independent. They will be very resourceful. So who's going to do this? The university, of course. But who in the university will have this kind of program? I don't know. Maybe it's under TLC. Because we focus too much on our staff. And even then, we are still struggling to get our staff to come to our program, right? How to teach. Understand how the students learn. But then, the other part, the students themselves. Who tell them how to learn? Who tell them about the concept of self-directed learning, self-regulated? Who tell them about the concept of metacognitions, for example? Have you heard about the word metacognitions? Who tell them how to, and so many things. Yeah. Okay. So Dr. Low, you have class. Don't worry. If you have class, feel free. Yeah. I know you have meetings and so on. So that's my answer to Dr. Noziana. Okay, Dr. Zana, you can unmute the microphone. Maybe you want to say more on this. Still there, Dr. Noziana?
Yes,
okay.
Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, okay. So you want to say more about this, the necessity to have the program for students how to learn.
Yeah, because I think every student has their own way of studying, and every students have their own personality. So we basically we do not know what is the general approach applicable or suitable for all of them. And I also think that the lecturers, I'm talking about myself, I basically do not have enough knowledge, or I would say I'm not the right person to basically teach them on how to become a self-directed learners. So I think it's best that the right group of people, Prof, and also perhaps the TLC group, to conduct that course for our students. I think that would be very helpful, Prof.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion.
Thank you very much. And you're right. At USM, I have initiated the program so-called Super Learner program, and it's open for everyone among the students. Yeah, but it's really hard to get students to join voluntarily to come to the program, because they are so busy with their timetable is so packed. So if we do it outside the normal hours, let's say in the evening and so on, they're already tired. So only the motivated students only will come and learn, because they know they want to learn how to learn. It's not only how to study. How to study is different from how to learn. Because if you know how to learn, then easy for you to study. And you will study, you become a smart learner. So you can be a hard working student, but you don't learn in a smart way, you don't study in a smart way. I used to be like that, you know. I'm not a very brilliant student, but I work hard. But later on, I realized when come to grades, exam, and so on, I didn't perform as good as as my friends. Is it because they are more brilliant than me? Maybe yes, they are gifted. But most of the time, you are more or less the same. But I work harder. But why I don't get better grades? Then I realize it's all about the skills, how to study, how to learn. So these are the two things I think we need to look at very seriously. Help our students to learn. But the starting point would be for us to understand how learning works, and understand also how adult learners learn. Okay, so that's what this session is about. If only everyone understand why this is such an important, critical thing for us to learn, how learning works. Yeah. Okay. We have less than 1 hour, so I will go through starting from principle 1. I might not be able to cover everything, so probably Dr. Zaman, maybe we can consider to have a second part of this, because there is more for each of the principle. But let us start with principle number 1. How does students' prior knowledge affect their learning? So, students link new ideas and information to what they already know. The word student here is applied to everyone, including us. When we learn new thing, we are the student. Sometimes I use the word learners. Okay, so learners is someone learning new thing, right? So learners link new ideas and information to what they already know. This can have two effects, negative and positive. The negative is the prior knowledge or the prior learning can hinder learning in the case of inactive insufficient, inappropriate, or inaccurate knowledge. Dia tahu sikit je sebenarnya. Kita kan kadang-kadang kita jumpa ramai yang keadaan macam itu kan. Dia tahu sikit je tapi nampak macam tahu banyak. Ya, tapi sebenarnya tahu on the surface saja. Bila go deeper, dia dah tak boleh buat. Then they try to goreng lah. They try to goreng. Then maybe will say the different wrong thing, wrong facts, give a wrong explanation, wrong facts, wrong numbers and so on, wrong theory even. So because insufficient, tahu sikit saja, or inappropriate, tak kena tempat, inaccurate knowledge, fakta yang salah. Okay. So that can hinder learning. Because why? They are not prepared to learn new things because they are being influenced by the so-called the previous understanding of that particular thing. But it can also be harnessed to enhance learning. So of course we want to harness the students' prior knowledge so that it can help them to learn new things in our course. So at this point, I want to mention about this one here. Garnier, the spelling is Garnier, tapi is I think French. Right? We pronounce Garnier. Garnier's 9 events of instruction. These are actually a very good one. I will have a separate session for this one. How to design your one class session. It can be 1 hour, 2 hours, or whatever, one session, so that you can break it up into 9 parts, 9 events sequentially. Okay, so it is a great way of engaging your students and design your lesson systematically. Who in the audience, in the participant listening now, has used
Okay, so kita rehat sekejap, 1 minit. Quick break. Boleh minum air, tarik nafas, gerak-gerakkan badan. Okay, so today also MS team have a problem to download the attendance. So I will give you the attendance form. So you need to click lah, for the attendance, and also the evaluation form. Okay. So I masukkan evaluation form, attendance and attendance. Paste. Okay. Boleh isi ni attendance, ni attendance. Copy. Paste. Ataupun gunakan QR code. Okay, so link the and then for
Dr. Salman?
ya.
Minta maaf ya, saya minta maaf kepada semua. Saya ada saya terpaksa menjawab urgent call tadi.
Okay. Saya apa ni, saya dah cover untuk benda lain.
Okay. So saya boleh teruskan ke atau macam mana?
Boleh. Teruskan bro.
Boleh ya? Okay.
Dia orang dah tahu dah.
Ya, saya my apologies to everyone here. Because it's an urgent call, I have to reply. Okay, I just want to ask quick questions. has any one of you here used Ghanaian 9 events of instruction to design your lesson, 1 hour lesson, for example, 1 hour class? If you have used it, please say yes. If you have not used it, please say no in the chat. Boleh tak? A quick one, yes or no? Yes, we have used Ghanaian 9 events of instruction.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Prof, not
Not
yet.
yet. You have learned something from yesterday. Not yet. Okay. I like it. I like it. I love it. Not yet. At least
Learn
those who have
something.
attended, those who have attended yesterday, they learn something. This is a growth mindset. Kita panggil growth mindset, ya. Maknanya, okay, not yet, not yet. But I'm going to learn and use it if it suit me. Okay. I'm glad to see. Okay, not yet, ya. Not yet, not yet. Belum tak ada tak yang yes so far? Tak ada, ya. Not yet. Okay, tak apa. So good.
Ada. Prof, Dr. Chua. Dr. Chua.
Dr. Chua.
Atas.
Excellent, excellent. Wow. Saya rasa Dr. Chua ni is always maybe among the people here yang very passionate in teaching, ya. I would love to talk to you, Dr. Chua. Please, feel free to come to my room, have a chat. Yeah. All right. So I will have a separate session for this later on. I don't know which when in the calendar, but I just want to draw your attention here. Number 3 here. Stimulate recall of prior learning. This will answer Dr. Zolman question, Dr. Zolman.
Ya, okay.
Macam mana nak check untuk prior learning? Yang inilah dia, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ni. Okay. Tapi I'm not going to talk about it now because I do have the slide talking about how to check for prior learning. But this slide or this poster you can download, and this slide of course you will download. But this one you can download from this website. Okay.
Okay, bro.
Yeah, okay. So meaning that dalam Ghanaian event pun dah kata langkah yang ketiga dalam you punya kelas tu mesti somewhere you kena check for prior learning. Kalau tak buat ni maknanya tak lengkap. Kita terus terjun aja, terus start kita punya PowerPoint. Okay, today we are going to learn about this dan bla 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 sampai habis. Kita tak tahu pun student ni ada misconception ke apa yang dia tahu sebelum dia belajar tentang topik yang baru ni. Selalu berlaku macam tu kan? Dulu saya pun macam tu juga. Until I learn about this book, How Learning Works. Okay. Then okay. Saya akan demonstrate satu teknik yang saya selalu gunakan, ya. Sekejap lagi. Okay, dia ada video. Saya lupa pula nak letak link video ni. Allahuakbar. Tapi kalau pergi dekat channel saya boleh jumpa video ni. Saya ada buat 2 video tentang prior learning ni. Principle number 1, ya. So kalau rajin dengarlah video ni, tak panjang pun, hanya dalam 3 minit. How does students' prior knowledge affect their learning? Okay. Kemudian video yang kedua, how to activate prior knowledge. Kita kena activate. Student have this prior knowledge, tapi kalau kita just leave it macam itu, tak guna juga. We have to activate that prior knowledge so that they can use that prior knowledge to learn the new knowledge. Okay, so kalau rajin dengarlah video ni 3 minit juga. Ada dalam channel saya. You go to YouTube, search my name ABD Karim Alias, Abdul Karim Alias. But I have about 500 videos there. So you scroll lah, ya. Saya lupa nak bagi link kat sini, ya. Okay, now one thing that we have to be mindful, kena hati-hati, we have to be careful and mindful. With the prior knowledge, the student can come with the wrong knowledge, meaning that they have some misconception, misunderstanding, misinterpretation of certain concepts, certain principles, certain theory. That could be harmful when they want to learn new thing. That can hinder the learning. Okay, macam mana misconception boleh berlaku? Reasons for misconception. Ya, ini ada dia. Prior knowledge, misinterpretation, incomplete or inaccurate information, confirmation bias, cognitive biases. Okay, prior knowledge. Students often bring their existing belief and assumption to new learning experiences. And this preconception can interfere with the ability to understand new information. Dia kata, okay, let's say vaccine lah kata, ya. I believe vaccine is like this. Dia tak mau terima benda yang lain kalau against that dia punya belief. Jadi dia kind of in denial lah, in denial. Dia tak mau terima. Dia kata I believe that bila dia kata I believe that his belief or her belief, and dia tak nak compromise. Okay. So itu kita kena berbetulkan kalau dia memang salah konsep dia, memang dia interpret dengan cara yang salah, kitalah yang kena betulkan. Okay. Tapi kalau kita tahu dia ada misconception, kalau kita tak tahu, dia akan terus dengan dia punya konsep yang salah tu sampai dia graduate. Bila dia pergi kerja, dia pun apply konsep yang tersebut. Then dia did something wrong, then bos dia kata, kenapa you buat macam ini? That's how I learn at Uni 10, katanya. Macam tu. Bahaya tu. Yeah. Sometimes this preconception are incorrect or incomplete, leading to misconception. Misinterpretation macam mana boleh berlaku? Because misunderstanding or misinterpretation of information can happen if the information is presented confusingly. Kita mengajar ni, kita bagi dia maklumat, kita terangkan tapi dengan cara yang mengelirukan. So they orang get confused. So, and the student lack the necessary background knowledge. Dia punya asas pun goyang to understand what we are trying to explain them. That's misinterpretation. So we have to be careful. So this is where we need to do scaffolding dan sebagainya, konsep scaffolding. Misconception juga boleh berlaku kalau incomplete or inaccurate information. Sometimes misconception can arise if the information being taught is incomplete. Itu our part lah. Kita tak bagi maklumat, kita bagi maklumat separuh. Tapi separuh lagi tak lengkap. Atau kita bagi fakta yang salah. Because kita sendiri pun ada misconception mungkin. That can happen. Very dangerous. And I have seen this a few times in my own program. Yeah. This can happen if the teacher doesn't fully understand the topic. Wah, bahaya ni. Teacher, lecturer, dia tak ada mastery of the subject matter, especially lecturer baru. Kita minta dia mengajar, kesian dia ya. Sebab dia pun baru nak belajar. Okeylah, dulu dia pernah belajar masa first degree. Tapi masa tu pun masih belajar kan. Faham-faham gitu saja. Sekarang kena mengajar. So to teach is to learn twice kan. And the best way to learn is to teach. Orang kata, tapi kita sendiri pun masih goyang lagi, tak faham sangat konsep tu. Tapi nak mengajar konsep tu. Akibatnya student tak dapat sepenuhnya kefahaman sebab kita sendiri kurang faham. That can lead to misconception on the student's part. Confirmation bias. Apa itu confirmation bias? People tend to seek out information that confirms their existing belief and ignore information that contradicts them. Dia kata, I believe that. Dia tak mau terima benda yang lain lagi dah. Kemudian dia akan cari maklumat-maklumat lain untuk sokong dia punya belief tu. Itu yang bagi confirmation bias. Dia nak reinforce dia punya belief tu. Dia kata begini-begini, kemudian dia cari maklumat. Tengok ni reference dan sebagainya. So this can lead to misconception if student only seek out information that supports their preconception. Remember, the student here include us, the learners. Yeah. Cognitive biases. People are also prone to several cognitive biases that can lead to misconceptions, such as the availability, heuristic over-relying on easily available information. Dia tak usahlah nak cari maklumat, dia hanya gunakan internet aja. Tak mau cari dalam jurnal, scientific work, scientific publication. Dia nak mudah. Akibatnya, maklumat dalam internet banyak yang palsu, banyak yang tak betul. Hanya bergantung pada Wikipedia. Bukan nak kata Wikipedia tak bagus, tapi Wikipedia is actually crowdsourced. Maknanya ada yang maklumat yang tak tepat. Bukan pakar yang buat tu semua. So, itu dia confirmation bias. So, misconception is a big thing. And we should be able to understand why it happened and how can we correct it. Okay, now let's look at some example. Okay. I want all the participants here now to put your thinking cap, if you don't mind. Boleh tak? Yeah. Okay. Give example of misconception. Let's say saya cuba cari yang berkaitan relevan dengan unit 10 ya. Green energy. Okay. Unit 10 is energy university, right? Okay. Agak-agak apa kemungkinan misconception yang berkaitan dengan green energy ni? Boleh tak share satu, dua, seorang boleh share satu contoh misconception dalam green energy? Kemudian ya kalau boleh juga dalam electric powered car, macam Tesla tu kan, electric powered car. Food security. Apa tu food security? Mungkin kita faham lain, sebenarnya lain. Itu dia misconception. Sustainability. Okay, mana-mana 24 ni misconception. Boleh tak tengok siapa yang boleh share something. Puan Malinda ada ke pagi ni? Puan Malinda, are you there? Pagi ni Puan Malinda ada kelas kot ni. Puan Malinda ni memang tekun lah to learn new things. So anyone here? By the way, how many participants we have here, Dr. Zulman?
Ada 40.
Okay. So 40 kalau 10%, 4 orang boleh respon pun jadilah. The question is, can you think of misconception in any of this topic? Green energy, electric powered car, food security, sustainability. Okay. Dapat 4 orang respon pun, okay, I will continue. Saya tunggu.
Prof, kalau dalam saya punya paper, saya punya mechanic static, the most problem misunderstood the student is about the concept free body diagram lah. They draw the free body diagram, and then if the free body diagram is wrong, all's gone lah.
Jadi ada kan? Ada misconception.
Ada. So, concept free body diagram.
Dr. Nur Azizah. Klasik lah nama Nur Azizah ni. Green energy is only about renewable energy. So yang betulnya apa ya? Betul Nur Azizah? Ini misconception. So if you want to correct it, what would be the correct one? Okay, Dr. Chua kata green energy, renewable energy, for example solar, wind, biodiesel. Dr. Chua, Dr. Nazizah kata renewable energy, green energy is not only about renewable energy. Itu misconception tu. Okay, 2 je ke? Bukan 2 je. Kesian lah kat saya tunggu ni lagi. Ni lagi 2 cukup lah, 4. Ada lagi tak? On electric powered car, what would be the misconception? Okay, tak apalah ya. 2 pun jadilah. Terima kasih Dr. Nur Azizah, Dr. Chua, Dr. Elia. Okay, sustainability is all about environment. Itu misconception ya. So meaning that sustainability is not only about, I think this is common lah. Common misconception kan. Bila sebut sustainability je, environment. Padahalnya it's also about economic sustainability, macam-macam lagi kan. Okay, terima kasih. I appreciate it. Now, saya menggunakan ChatGPT untuk membantu saya memberi contoh. Apakah contoh-contoh misconception? So first, misconception about ChatGPT. Okay. Ini dia. AI is the same as human intelligence. Yang betulnya, ini dia. Jadi bila, let's say the class is about AI and ChatGPT. So the first thing you will design questions to check whether, for example, I can design a question yes or no. Okay. Then statement 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 statement ini yes or no. And from there, let's say I have 50 students in the class, I can easily see how many say yes, how many say no. I will demonstrate shortly. Yeah. And then from there, okay, 80% get it wrong. There's a lot of misconception here, guys, folks. So I can see a lot of you come with wrong concept of ChatGPT or sustainability or green energy. So pay attention. What we're going to learn today will correct your misconception. Nampak tak? That's how we check for learning gaps or prior knowledge. Check for misconception. Another example for electric powered car. Ini semua saya dapat daripada ChatGPT lah. Okay, misconception. Ini correction dia. So meaning that there's a gap in knowledge. So when we deliver our class through various ways, lecture, activities, formative assessment, and so on, those activities, lectures, and so on will correct their misconception. And we know we have done a good job because we have addressed all the misconception, misunderstanding, misinterpretation correctly. Ini green energy. Apa dia yang is only about renewable energy tadi, dia tak ada kat sini, tapi yang ini antara green energy is more expensive than traditional sources of energy. It's not exactly because dia kata in some cases it is cost competitive, blah 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 macam ni. Okay, organic food, banyak orang ada misconception about organic food. Is it organic food always the best, always healthier, dan sebagainya. Food security, these are some of the misconception about food security. So the point that I'm trying to say here with all this example is checking for the prior knowledge. One of the aims is so that we know whether the students bring to the class misconception, wrong concept, misinterpretation of the concept or the principles, inaccurate facts, for example, so that we will design our lesson in such a way that all this misconception will be corrected. So, checking for prior knowledge. Ini again to answer Dr. Zolman punya question tadi. Ada beberapa cara. Saya terlupa nak prepare one activity tadi tu to illustrate about KW chart lama. Okey, tak apa. Pre-assessment. Saya akan demonstrate satu contoh. Pre-assessment, KW chart, KWL chart, anticipation guide, group brainstorming, one-on-one chat, exit ticket. These are among other things, among the other techniques that we can use to check for prior knowledge. Okay, let's look at slightly more detail. Checking for prior knowledge, pre-assessment. Before beginning any topic or unit, the teacher can administer a pre-assessment to gauge what students already know about the topic. This can be in the form of quiz, macam Dr. Zulman kata, survey, or discussion. KWL chart. Siapa pernah dengar KWL chart? Pernah dengar, bukan pernah guna. Pernah dengar. Yes or not yet? Please put in the chat very quickly. Siapa pernah dengar, bukan pernah guna, pernah dengar KWL chart? Yes or not yet in the chat? Not yet, not yet, not yet. Okay. Not yet. Wah, baguslah. Sekarang kita sudah kita nak bagi apa ni? We want all our academic staff at Unit 10 in Unit 10 to have this not yet mentality or mindset, meaning that when you say not yet, I'm going to learn and apply or understand this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So when you say no, that's it. No. Meaning that okay, that's it. I'm not going to learn, or I just ignore. Okay. Okay, not yet. So I'm going to show you the example shortly. So KWL chart. This is actually a graphic organizer that stands for what I know, K, know, what I know, what I want to know, what I want to learn, yeah, and what I learn, what I have learned. So meaning that after the class, we can ask the students, okay, what have you learned today? What have you learned from this session this morning? But when you come this morning, what do you know about how learning works? And I should ask you, what do you want to know? Your expectation. So that when I know what is your expectation, I can strategize, I can design, I can plan, so that I address whatever your learning needs, whatever that you want to know, so that you don't leave the session feeling disappointed, feeling that you have wasted your time. You know, sometimes masa I student dulu pun, bila pergi kelas kan, lepas tu kata, alah tak apa-apa kita hari ni belajar. I remember saying that, tak faham langsung. Masa buat masters pun gitu juga. Masa course biochemistry, the lecturer was a Russian, orang Rusia. Tak apa-apa je dia bercakap, tulis on the board, looking on the ceiling, not looking to the students. After 1 hour, we don't know what we have learned. Nak ambil nota pun kalau tak tahu macam mana. Can you imagine that? Because the lecturer don't really bother to ask what actually you want to know and what you don't know. What do you know in the first place? And then don't bother also to ask what you have learned today. So this KWL chart can help us to check for this, to assess prior knowledge. Anticipation guide. This is a statement or set of statement related to the topic of study. Contoh macam tadi kan, I want to check for misconception. I give 4 statement about energy, green energy. Then student have to answer yes or no. Jadi student are asked to indicate whether they agree or disagree. Yes or no, agree or disagree. From there, we can identify misconception and assess their prior knowledge. Group brainstorming, of course, is quite obvious. Exit tickets. Exit ticket, we can simply ask students to write on the piece of paper what they have learned, what they don't understand, what they are not very clear, or any questions. Nowadays, I use Twitter. I will ask my students to summarize 1 hour or to give any feedback or questions from that 1 hour class using a hashtag. Hashtag is actually the code of the course. And then everyone can see their friends' summary, their friends' questions, their friends, something that is to the friends not clear, and so on. So much learning happen after the class also. Okay. So how to do? Okay, now I want to demonstrate to you my way of doing pre-assessment. Okay. So I use this app called Socrative. Now I want to ask the quick question here. Siapa pernah gunakan Socrative app? Yes or not yet? In the chat. Very quickly. Siapa pernah gunakan? Bukan pernah dengar, pernah gunakan. Not yet. Okay. Not yet. Dr. Chua pun not yet. I expect Dr. Chua say yes. Okay, tak apa Dr. Chua. Not yet. Okay, not yet. Okay, thank you. Not yet. So I will show, and I think you will fall in love with this app after this one. Well, I fell in love with Socrative for a long time. So I hope you will fall in love also. So but for you to really understand how this thing can help us to check for prior knowledge, all of you here must participate. If you don't participate, then apa ni, tak nampak sangat lah, boleh ya? Okay. I'm going to give you maybe a short quiz about copyright. Don't worry if you don't know much about copyright. Just teka je lah, hentam lah, hentam saja lah, boleh ya? Hentam saja. So we are not really assessing whether you know or not. We are just demonstrating the technique and the app. Okay. Now, if you are using phone or using laptop, can you all please go to socrative.com. Okay, this is a website. Okay, and please log in as student login. So something like this, student login. Then it will ask for your room name. So just stand by at this point. Just stand by. Okay. Okay, now on my part, I will log in as teacher, and later on when you use Socrative, you will log in as teacher. So I will log in as teacher and sign in. So this is from the teacher view. By the way, boleh nampak ya, Dr. Zulman, boleh nampak saya punya screen ni, Socrative ni?
Boleh nampak.
Boleh nampak ya? Okay. This is how it looks like ya. Oh, currently I have a quiz running. I will finish the activity. Okay, finish. Okay. Now I will go to my library. I will find one quiz on copyright. Copyright part 2. Copyright class simulation. Okay, ini ada berapa soalan? Ini ada. Okay, cukuplah. 13 soalan ya. So you hentam saja ya. Hentam. I mean, okay. Okay, this is from the teacher side. You are looking at this now because you are looking at my screen. But student tak nampak lah. This is how we do the setup ya. It will be open navigation, require name. So put your name. If you don't want to declare, letak initial pun tak apalah ya. Shuffle answer. You can shuffle answer, shuffle question, show final score, and you can also. Tapi yang ini pro mine is free account, so you can also set only for one attempt. So now I launch. So I launch this one. Okay, now this from the teacher's view. You don't see this, yeah. So now put the room number IMK 209. It doesn't have to be capital letters, just IMK 209. And then put your name, and then you can start answering. Okay? All right. So I will just switch very quickly. Boleh ya? I'll give you like 1 minute to do this. Just guess the answer aja. Kalau if you don't know the answer, don't read the question. You just answer A, B. Yeah, because not important whether you learn. I'm not expecting you to learn anything from this. I just want to show how we use this app and how we can interpret the results to look for knowledge gap or misconception and misunderstanding and so on. So nampaknya pagi ini kita hanya cover in more detail principle number 1 saja ya. InsyaAllah kita akan sambung lagi dalam siri kedua, kalau perlu siri ketiga. Kita adjust balik Dr. Zulman, kita punya program.
Boleh, Prof.
Saya rasa kita kena ada continuation from this to cover all the 7 principles lah ya.
Okay.
Nanti kita bincang balik lah, nanti saya cadangkan balik. Okay, while you are doing it, on my side, this is what I see. Nampak tak? I can see in real time you are answering this. So I boleh nampak siapa student yang masuk dulu, siapa student yang belum jawab. Ini siapa yang belum pernah guna Socrative. That's why I say you will fall in love with this Socrative technique. Very, very powerful. I use this before the class to prepare students for the next class. I use this during the class, like what I'm doing now, and I use this after the class to check for, to do reinforcement and to check for, wrong misconception and so on. So 13 orang je yang masuk. Janganlah gitu. Yang lain-lain tak nak masuk ke? 13 saja ni. 13 orang saja yang saya nampak. Kita ada berapa Dr. Zulman? Tadi kata ada 40 ya. Mungkin dah tinggal berapa?
Sekarang 36.
36. Kalau boleh nampak 36 ada masuk ni.
Saya tekan IMK 209, dia tak boleh masuk, bro.
Ada space ke?
Tak ada space.
Yang lain boleh masuk ni, maknanya ada something wrong tu. Yang lain boleh masuk.
Betul pasal.
IMK 209, tak ada space.
Bila saya tekan ni, dia kata only letter A to Z allow in the room number. Maksudnya apa?
Are you sure you type correctly? Only letters A to Z. IMK tu memang letters A to Z lah. Saya rasa ada yang tak kena tu, Dr. Osman. Ada yang tak kena tu.
Buat balik.
Cuba start balik tu. Ini dia punya ni room number yang ni kat tadi kan. IMK 209 ke 2 you letak O ke instead of 0? Macam mana?
209. Sama IMK 209 tapi dia not allow.
Pelik.
Dia masuk student login kan? Student login kan?
Student login, kemudian masukkan room number IMK 209. Sebab yang lain boleh masuk ni, maknanya okey lah tu. Tapi mungkin I'm not sure your apa ni, something wrong. Okay, anyway, 15 orang je yang masuk, tapi tak apalah ya. I expect semua orang boleh participate lah, so that you experience the thing. The reason why I ask the participant to participate, so that you experience, not just looking. Looking is different from doing it. Just like we want our students to really do it, not just observing, kan?
Dah boleh Pak, dah boleh.
Boleh dah ya? What's just now Okay, tak apa. Okay, you can continue doing it, but this is how Socrative works. When the students answer the questions, let's say tadi kita buat true false contohnya, ataupun agree disagree, ataupun you can also have multiple choice questions. So I can see I have 13 questions here, 16 in fact, 16 questions. Then I can see question number one, a lot of red color. Red means wrong. Green means correct. So I can see for question number one, only 13% get it right. Question number two, 50% got it right. Question number three, no problem, 100% get it right. So overall, you see there are many reds, more reds than green. Apa maksudnya? Maksudnya soalan nombor 1 ni boleh dikatakan, only 19%, maknanya 80% got it wrong. Apa masalahnya di sini? Then I can click here, I can look at the questions. Okay, so okay. Nampaknya banyak yang salah faham ataupun misconception ke, misunderstand ke, ataupun memang tak tahu ke, apa ke. Then let's say I do this in the class ataupun before the class. Now I know I need to spend time and discuss more on this, because it seems there is a knowledge gap here. There is probably a misconception here. I don't know. So now let's discuss this result. Now I spend the next 10 minutes discussing about this. Then give the right questions. So now I know I have explained clearly, and I make sure the student understood this particular thing. And all this can be done very quickly using Socrative. I can do the analysis now very quickly. You cannot do this manually. So, power ke tak power? Atau power ke power? Socrative ni. Please say something in the chat. Power ke power? Ke power ke tak power? Power ke power? So, what do you say? Power. Power dengan capital letters tu, Dr. Nick. Power, kata Dr. Aiman dengan E dan R-nya sangat power, impressive. Ya, Puan Malinda, I was looking for you. Mana my good student tak ada ni. Okay, so Puan Malinda pernah guna Socrative, Puan Malinda? Puan Malinda, pernah guna Socrative tak? Semua kata power. Mestilah sebab saya bagi option power ke power. Socrative kan. So power and best. Ini saya nak dengar ni. Sangat power, impressive. Dr. Chua kata very useful, can access the pre-knowledge. Yes, Dr. Chua. Kahoot, Dr. Chua, is not as efficient as Socrative. I've used Kahoot also. Tapi Kahoot ni guna selalu pun student boring juga ya. Tapi Socrative, ladies and gentlemen, my dear colleagues, start using Socrative to check for prior knowledge. Use Socrative for a quick quiz in the class, at the beginning of the class, in the middle of the class, at the end of the class. I've been using this for a long time. I just want to tell people, use Socrative. Very powerful, very useful, very helpful for us to check for students' understanding, check for students' misconception, check for students' prior learning, prior knowledge. Easiest, fastest, very convenient.
Soalan Betty.
How about quizzes? Quizzes pun okey, Dr. Betty. Tapi quizzes tak boleh, boleh juga bagi macam ni. Tapi I use quizzes also. I'm also a big fan of quizzes for your information. So I use both. But for quiz, for quick check of student understanding and prior learning and so on, this is my favorite. Quizzes also can. Okay, so I think probably I don't want to extend further because we always have like 2 hours is 2 hours, but I have shown you how we can use Socrative app to do pre-assessment. Remember, we have pre-assessment, then KWL chart. Okay, maybe I have like about 9 minutes. I want to give a quick overview of what is KWL chart. Okay. Oh, by the way, this is a demo. This slide is a demo. And almost all my students doing or using Socrative on their phone. So this is actually a demo on the phone. This is how it looks like. And this is how they see my quiz. By the way, the quiz we can add graphic ya. And then there's a feedback. Nampak tak? Dalam you punya quiz tadi tak ada feedback. Tapi we can actually set a feedback. Whether the student answer correctly or incorrectly, they will get feedback. And this is a type of meaningful feedback, which is a principal number berapa tadi on the feedback. Kan? Ini satu contoh how we can give feedback using Socrative. Everything is automated. Tapi of course lah, you have to design it. Kerja sekali, crack your head sekali, tapi you can use it again and again. And now even better, ChatGPT can design the question for us. Alamak. ChatGPT, please create 10 questions on the topic of whatever, copyright. Then 10 questions. Then you buka Socrative, take the questions, and dengan the right answer also. ChatGPT kata okay, please indicate also the correct answer. Have you done that guna ChatGPT? I've tried. Then masukkan dalam Socrative, set up very quickly. You can do everything in like kalau banyak soalan lebih masa sikit kan, but between 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, done. Right? So
Prof, selalu soalan berapa yang dalam Socrative? Selalu soalan 10 okey soalan. Bilangan
okay.
Soalan.
Kalau kita nak check for prior knowledge, I would say that 5 to 10 questions would be sufficient lah. Kalau kita nak quick checking at the beginning of the class or in the middle of the class or at the end of the class, I would say around 5 questions, 3 to 5 questions would do.
Okay.
3 to 5 questions. Especially kalau in the middle kan, ataupun at the beginning of the class, 5 soalan cukup. Dan soalan ini kita design, kita kena smart lah bila kita design the question. That questions must align dengan learning outcome for that particular lesson. Nampak tak? Okay. So, saya rasa cukup sampai di sini. Ada banyak lagi. 7 principle ni, setiap satu ni saya nak kembangkan. save you the time to read the book. Tapi of course lah, kalau boleh biarlah bacalah buku tu, ya, supaya you learn more, because so much more in the book, ya. There's so much more. So okay, I would stop the sharing now. Now okay, back to the Microsoft Teams. So kalau kita ada dalam 6 minit lagi, maybe I want the hard copy book, Dr. Chua. This book is one of the best investment that I have done, ya. You nampaklah buku ni dah jadi macam belacan tau. Buku ni dah kuning, dah jadi macam belacan, because I always refer to this book, and I have the soft copy now also. Okay. Siapa, if you want to have a look, you can come and I can lend you the book also before you decide to buy. Kalau you nak photostat the whole book, that's not my business. I don't want to know. In copyright infringement, I don't want to know. Okay, do it at your own risk. Okay, I don't encourage. Okay, ada soalan ke? Boleh unmute terus. Apa pandangan tuan-tuan dan puan semua? What do you think about how learning works? And now we deliberate a little bit on the first principle. Do you think it's such an important thing to check for prior knowledge? Any thoughts? And what about Socrates? Have you fell in love with Socrates now?
I love Socrates.
Love. Betul Zulman, kalau I love macam tu macam tak passionate. I love.
Oh, the ways express lah.
The tone is different, you know. Oh, I love Socrates.
I
love Socrates. Macam tu. Okay. Tengok macam Dr. Chua tu dia, I want the hard copy book. Then exclamation mark dia ada 10 tu. Maknanya dia betul-betul nakkan buku tu. Itu nampak lah kan keseriusannya, how serious.
Kita boleh cadangkan kat library jugalah. Library beli buku tu kan.
Mungkin ada kot. You better check in the library. I don't know whether library have a copy or not. Yeah. Alright. So ada soalan? Any questions? Puan Malinda, tadi I tanya, have you used Socrates, Puan Malinda? Because Puan Malinda
dia tak ada dalam ni, Prof. Dia cakap, dia tulis kejap je kot. Dia ada face to face dengan Bekil.
Dia ada kelas, dia ada program lain. Okay. So after the program, Dr. Zulman, how do you make it available the recording kepada, ataupun dia boleh masuk dalam
dia orang semua boleh ambil recording daripada chat tu.
Tak.
Daripada chat tiap kali lepas.
Yang tak datang, yang tak join.
Yang tak datang join tu, dia boleh klik yang jemputan tu. Dia boleh dapat daripada chat tu. Dia orang boleh masuk chat. Semua orang boleh masuk chat.
Saya cadangkan yang sesi ni dan yang sebelum ni, if you can boleh download kan from Microsoft Power.
Ada. Kita memang ada buat TL Hub, TLC Hub.
So
kita masukkan dalam TLC Hub.
Saya tak tahu yang tu, nanti Dr. Zaman bagi saya link kepada
okey.
TL Hub tu, ya.
So kita buat,
ada soalan.
Compile semua kat situ.
Ada semua situ ya. Okay, good. Kena upload juga ke dalam TLC punya YouTube channel kot kan.
Betul.
Okay, ada soalan. So Dr. Hasniza, Socrates ni boleh link dengan LMS ke? Okay, kita Socrates ni you boleh bagi you bagi instruction, katakan dalam LMS tu, okay, kata okay, I have opened the, you have to make the session active tau. Macam tadi kan I launch the quiz kan, nampak tak tadi I launch the quiz. So you have to make it active. Bila dah active, you give instruction to the students in the LMS. Okay, I have opened the Socrates quiz for this topic and I will open it until 12 midnight tomorrow, contohlah. Selalu I bagi deadline. Then you dah aktif kan, baru student boleh masuk dan buat. Selagi tak aktif, dia tak boleh nampak lah that one. Tapi dia tak ada direct link. you just inform the student, go to socreative.com, sign up, sign in, then put the room name, everything. So once after they have done it first time, they will know what to do lah. But you just tell them, I have opened the Socrative, I have activated the ataupun open the session, Socrative session. So please do it and give them the deadline and so on. Usually I will give I have a WhatsApp group for all my class. So normally I will just quick communication with them quickly, easily using the WhatsApp. So they're okay, Socrative is open now. And then what I do, when I open the Socrative, I will have the window open on my laptop. Then I will see who will do the quiz first. Then usually sometimes I give hadiah kepada student yang dah masuk awal. Kemudian I put in the WhatsApp, oh I saw this whoever, the first student who did the quiz. Congratulations, well done. I will give you a T-shirt when I come to the class tomorrow. No, I bagi T-shirt tau, T-shirt customized lagi. I invested some money to give, orang kata apa ni, gift, hadiah kepada student untuk bagi reward to them for their effort, for their enthusiasm. This is what we call quick, kita panggil apa? Instant gratification. Instant gratification. Jadi student rasa seronok. Wah, jawab yang pertama, be the first to answer also dapat hadiah. Macam tu ya. So that's what I do lah basically. So ada lagi apa-apa lagi soalan? Tak ada. Nampak semua okey. Alhamdulillah. Jadi saya harap the session this morning have benefited you. You learn something, I hope. And please explore further.
So normally Prof akan bagi tanya soalan macam mana? What do you learn something macam mana? Selalu kalau Prof kata dah hujung kelas?
Sometimes I bagi quiz kan, to check for their understanding. Sometimes then after that I wajibkan diorang untuk buat satu summary ataupun apa-apa soalan atau benda yang tak jelas dalam Twitter. So let me quickly show you my Twitter.
Kalau dalam ni kita tak boleh tulis Prof. Kalau dalam ni kita cakap what is the new thing you learn macam tu. Boleh
tapi
boleh.
Nanti dia
akan tak record.
Dia dalam itu je. Tapi bila you buat dalam satu, you create satu hashtag, contoh ya, I tunjukkan you my course IMK 209. So semua student akan tweet sama dia
bagi kena share dulu Prof, tak nampak.
Oh sorry. Maaf. Nasib baik cakap. Okey, nampak tak saya punya Twitter?
Nampak.
Nampak ya. So then the instruction is at the end of the class they must tweet gunakan hashtag IMK209 ni, then dia tweet lah, dia sama ada the tweet is summary or maybe questions, or maybe they can share something else, or maybe something that they are not very clear. Everything is in the tweet. So when I search IMK209 ni, you will see a lot of example here. Tengok my student ya, tengok ya.
Oh, itu gunanya Twitter sebenarnya.
Ini dia punya summary lah ni. Okay. Ini.
Saya tak pernah pakai Twitter, Bro.
Powerful ya. Banyak lagi ni, kenapa dia internet ni. The hundreds if you just tweet. We just search the ni, maybe I show another example.
Student biasa pakai Twitter, Bro,
Oh yes. Tengok tengok my student tweet apa. Tengok. Dengan gambar siap dengan apa ni. Tengok nampak di hashtag ni hashtagnya.
Oh, dah lepas dia type tu, dia kena tulis hashtag tu.
Jadi semua student in the class, after the class, they can just search for the tweet, for the hashtag, then they can also see the summary from other student in the class. So there's so much learning happening can happen.
Oh,
Nampak tak?
okay. Faham.
See, tu dia.
Hmm.
So that is how I do. Actually, there is learning. There is principle number berapa? I tak ingat tadi, on the feedback and practice ya. Itu antara lain lah. Okay, so itulah dia. There's so much more.
Faham.
Yeah.
Thanks for the knowledge.
Yeah.
Puan Juliana nak tanya soalan? Dia dah on kamera?
Siapa? Puan Juliana. Juliana Anis.
Ke dia turn on?
Silakan. Tak dengar lah.
You mute tu.
You are
Suara
muted.
tak ada.
Sorry.
Now dah
Dia turn on.
Ya.
Okay. Dia turn on.
Turn on.
Dia ke...
Okay. Turn on.
Okay, so if you don't have any questions, so thank you for a lot of knowledge, Prof. For this morning. Memang Prof punya webinar memang kita dah jangka lah. Kita akan dapat banyak knowledge baru. Then kita akan sebar-sebarkan lah knowledge tu. Kita akan share lagi lah. Knowledge dia akan berkembang lagi lah, Prof.
InsyaAllah.
Okay, thank you Prof. Thank you Prof Sahabat for join the class. So kita punya the next webinar is after midterm break nanti. Kita akan jemputan. So kita akan masuk dalam YouTube lah sekali kan, Prof. Kita akan tengok. Kita cubalah.
Sebarkan ilmu.
Ataupun kita nak masukkan gunakan Zoom ke apa? Prof nak gunakan Zoom Nanti kita tengoklah nanti.
Kita tengoklah macam mana.
Kita tengoklah nanti macam mana. Tapi macam mana pun kita ucapkan terima kasih pada semua sahabat dan Prof. So jumpa lagi. Bye-bye. Assalamualaikum and
Assalamualaikum.
terima kasih.
Have a nice day, everyone.
Yeah.